Hello everyone, my name is Forset Rising, otherwise known as Icarus, and today I am joined by Bach, the head coach for Tempest Gaming. Bach, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing real good. I'm real good. Just got done with the leg day at the gym. Now I'm relaxing before I go get hot pot and Korean barbecue with my friend. So,
Oh, Korean barbecue is my favorite food. Making me hungry over here. Tell me, how are you feeling how are you feeling after week one of the matches and going into week two?
um, I don't think we had any doubt that we were going to even like drop a game week one. I just feel like due to like the seeding, right? Like we were seeded as one of the higher teams that naturally puts us against weaker opponents. I thought our opponents played well, but I don't think we had any doubt we would lose. Going into week two, obviously the competition's getting a bit tougher, but I also don't foresee us losing a series there either. I'm very confident we're going to take it to, like I said, kind of ends right. If we win Saturday and Sunday, we promote. So
Right.
yeah, we're feeling pretty good.
I mean, yeah, you guys face decently easy opponents compared to the boys you have over in Tempest. Looking at the matchups in week two, those being PPL, Pepe Lala, and the winner of Gravity versus Dog, is there anything that you're looking at that could be scary with these, more highly seeded teams?
Nope. I'm not even trying to be like a trash talker either, but also without leaking too much, we've just been really, really solid in scrims against
Mm-hmm.
teams that are at like that next level of gameplay above tier three. So I'm not going to drop any names. I'm going to say any records, but if we play the League of Legends that we've shown to be playing the past like month and a half or so of scrims, no one outside of maybe like near airport or Citadel or might be another like team or two in there is going to give us much of a problem. And you did mention our side of the bracket is a bit easier. So
Yep.
yeah,
You guys have a really easy side of the bracket. You don't face really any of these top scary teams until near airport in the finals, which if assuming they make it, right? Citadel's already dropped from the bracket themselves, which was very surprising to a lot of people. What'd you think about that? About Citadel dropping?
and what's that Jose Mourinho meme? It's like if I speak, I'm in big trouble. No, I just every time I hear like a super team getting put together, it's kind of like my bullshit radar goes off a little
Mm-hmm.
bit because it's kind of like, okay, like we've tried this a million times before at all levels of play. You can't just take five like individually good players, throw them together, and pretend like it's a roster. But also, I think it might be a little bit disrespectful to the amount of teams who might have been practicing. Because while I think Tempest Gaming or like my roster is the best in OQs, like obviously I'm biased here. A lot of other teams have been putting in that time and that effort, and there are other good teams here. So
Mm-hmm.
to think that you can just throw together five random good players and think that you're going to just stomp everybody might be a bit overzealous. And they are good. Like, don't get me wrong, they are good. They should be valued towards the top of the pack, but they're not like some monstrosity like Nightmare was supposed to be, right? Because Nightmare was unveiled forever ago. I
Yeah.
would have assumed they would have been scrimming this whole time,
They were
but that fell
scrimming, they
through.
were playing together. They even were getting paid salaries for the month that they were together.
Yeah,
And then, from what I heard, sponsors dropped out. So unfortunate to those Nightmare guys. Um,
happens.
I know a couple of them are most likely going to retire at this point. Dokla, it's a big name out there that most people aren't linking to anyone. So
Very sad.
it's very sad, but it does happen, especially within the tier three scene. So as a coach, though, you've been around for about a year now, mostly in Europe with your team over there. What has it been like coming over to North America? And I know you coached a little bit here with Dark Matter, but how has the culture difference been compared to like for the players?
Um, well, it's kind of like my Leaguepedia doesn't show it, but I was with Cloud9 for a couple of years in like 2021, 2022, and
Got
I
it.
helped run their training grounds program.
Got it.
So like I wasn't like an LCS coach or anything like that, but I did have experience in NA with them. And then I did decide to do some individual coaching and then some coaching in EU. And you asked about the culture between EU and NA. And it's really weird because I would say that this NA roster that we have here is um, like head and shoulders above my EU roster in terms of skill, like just raw skill. But the infrastructure EU has is so much more developed. Like they'll turn on a stream for like these ERLs. The ERL I'm
Uh huh.
coaching in is the Portuguese ERL, and it's not a very like high quality one or high tier one, but they'll get 1,000 viewers for
Mm-hmm.
their scene, and like that's like crazy. If you that'd be like Titan or Aegis or
Yep.
somebody turning on their broadcast and getting like 1,000 viewers. So like it's a bit surreal. So the players there, even at like the masters to challenger level, like that aren't even going tier two, are so much more dedicated. They're so much more professional because there's like official Riot contracts. You
Yeah.
practice on TR. There's like all of these. It plays like tier two, but the skill level is more tier three. But I kind of prefer that because what I find that happens in North America is a lot of these players individually get very, 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 very good. And to get good, you have to build confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But then as a coach, you kind of have to deconstruct that player's notions of how they want to play the game that they've, kind of reaffirmed through solo queue. So you're telling this guy who at rank one, hey dude, you're playing this kind of like a bit of a silly willy head, to put it politely. And he's like, no, dude, this works for me. I'm rank one or whatever. But like in EU,
Right.
you'll be like, you can do that, and they'll just be like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let me let me do what you're saying.
Egos are definitely a whole lot higher, I would say, in North America, at least from the players I've spoken to, and comparing them to players I've spoken to in Europe. A lot of them want to learn and get better within the pro scene if they're in that sort of atmosphere here. What do you think the biggest difference, though, like biggest deciding factor, has been to want to come over to Tempest compared to who you've been coaching?
Um, it sounded fun. Honestly, like I no, like I'm serious. I love coaching. I love helping people. I do like educational content on YouTube for
Yep.
free. I have like my own Discord where I help people for free and stuff. So like I just do it for the love of the game. I'm not getting paid, so
Right.
there's it's a good time. And the biggest part for me as a coach is like I want to know that the players I'm working with like actually want me to be there
Mm-hmm.
and or getting something from it. Like I'm not going to be giving everybody a revelatory experience and changing their entire view of the game, but like if we're all here, if the vibes are good, if we're here for the same reason, then that's kind of the most important thing to me on like what determines what roster or what org I'll go with.
For sure. And going back to Tempest a little bit, coming in as like the top seed, someone who many considered even before the tournament to be number two behind Nightmare, and then once the Nightmare dropped, number one. Even with Citadel and Nearport coming in, how have your players managed those expectations of being the best?
Um, I This is like a tough question because it's not a traditional roster type deal. Like usually when I have a roster, I kind of do like a tryout process, or I'll get to know the players individually. It was kind of like, hey, we have a roster, we need a coach, and we scrim for a couple of weeks, and like it's been great for development. But coming in from that like aspect is kind of I've had to gauge where the players are at in terms of their current expectations, and then feel that out, and then find a way to not overhype them because we got some rookies here like you have players like Manui who have been
Mm-hmm.
playing like tier two since before I was born, probably. But then you have other players like I mean, like Kizno's played like a split here or there. I don't know if Hoarders. I don't think Hoarders played tier two. Maybe he has, and I'm just talking out of my ass right now. So
um,
um, I
I'm not.
think
Go ahead.
okay. I would say like what I like to tell everybody is you need confidence to be a good player, but don't let like hubris get in the way of your personal growth. So I just said like we're going to every match, even our round one match against those like diamond players. I was like we're gonna treat this like it's near airport. Like we're
Right.
gonna scout them. We're gonna ban the champions we think are gonna be good to ban. We're gonna treat it like so. If you treat everybody the same at that highest level of expectations, I think that just helps with consistency and not stumbling over people that you should normally be, or losing to people who you think are better than you.
For sure. No, I definitely agree. Quickly on Hoarder, real quick. I don't believe he's played in NACL, but he has been playing Tier 3 for about 2 or 3 years now.
I did know that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He was on the Polestar roster with Tenacity that made it to NACL, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think he played.
Okay.
Um, that aside, though, managing expectations is very hard, as we all really know here. Um, how do you, as a coach, stack up to the competition? How do you manage your own expectations?
Yeah, this is really tough too because I go through like this constant. wave where I'll feel like really on my game. I'm like, man, I'm I feel really confident in my meta read. I feel really confident on what champions are prioed. I feel really confident on, how to play the map. And then I'll learn something or see something or get humbled. So I'll go through like undulating cycles of
Right.
confidence. So I think, like I said, I always keep that mantra to myself, like, I'm always learning, I'm always improving. How do I stack up? I don't know. That's a really good question. Um, I think maybe if you ask any other coach, like they would have different metrics to like what makes a good coach. I had a conversation with this coach called Draxer,
Yep.
where I was asking him what do you feel makes like a good coach, and he told me that was a really stupid question, or like sorry, like I think I misphrased that a little bit, but that's like in essence,
Yeah.
I was talking to him about like, okay, yeah, like, do you feel like you're the best coach, or what makes like the best coach? And he was not a fan of that question, but I feel like it's one to ask because like, how do you stack up? Like, why would any other team go with
Right.
you over somebody else's? So I know a lot, but I have the propensity for growth, and I think that's something a lot of people struggle with. Is like when you're in that authoritative position, it can be like shown as a sign of weakness to admit you don't know something. But I feel like that's something that should be like people aspire to admit when they don't know something because it means that they can grow and become better. So.
For sure. Are there any other coaches? I mean, you mentioned you spoke to Draxer, right? But any other coaches that you think are really good within the OQ?
Oh shoot! Within OQs, I gotta check.
There are a bunch. Like we have Nova, Tails, Kuok, Jad. Then Uncle Phil obviously is coaching the Slated Six roster, and he's really good. Most people point to him as being the best coach right now in OQ. Um,
I I would argue I don't have a good. Well, I have a fine relationship with everybody, but like I don't know Thin Uncle Phil like intimately, but I've heard really good things about him. I've seen a lot of his content, so I think he's a smart guy. I have a lot of respect for him. The coach for Gravity, Rourke.
yep.
I worked with him briefly a couple of years ago, and I know he's had a lot of success in OQs before. But the Parrot, I think it was LS who said this a couple of years ago, but just no coaches do any content really, so it's hard to get a read on what they are. I'm not a player anymore, so like I can't just go and see how good of a coach they are unless I'm on
Hmm.
their roster, unless I work with them. So it's hard for me to say without seeing like what they actually know.
For sure. I think that's one of the things that we're lacking, not even just in North America, but over in League of Legends, like as a whole, competitively. We don't have a lot of personalities compared to earlier in our careers.
Yeah.
Um, no, NA is not known for its coaching staff. We're known for having kind of a shorter pool at the top side. Do you think that with you being one of the more well-known coaches, it gives you and Tempest an edge?
Um, I'm not going to be so cocky to say that, but I would say like a coach's job is to get the buy-in of the players,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be a subpar coach, but if you get all the players to believe in you, it doesn't really matter. And I think a lot of people put a lot of stock in coaches who know a lot about the micro interactions of the game, but people forget like in real sports you need a coach who can bring the team together
Mm-hmm.
over like one unified idea. And that's why you have coaches like Spawn on Team Liquid, who like I think this dude is like gold, but he is such a good like vibes guy that he can bring the players together and they can have just like resounding success after resounding success, even though they lost to 100 Thieves. It happens, but so I think that the vibes and the atmosphere that we've created in this roster is something that we should feel proud of, and I feel like I'm doing my job well. So I'm sure that's not the answer you wanted, but that's the one I'm going to give you for that
I
question.
I don't mind any answers. Looking towards the rest of the tournament, you have pretty much an easy schedule. Going to the finals compared to the top bracket and the lower seeded. Your opponents going forward are Pepe Lala and Gravity, like we mentioned.
Hmm.
So, how are you feeling looking at the bracket going forward, and do you think you favor yourselves to win in the finals if you do make it there?
Um, I do got to have a quick shout out though for the Gravity roster. I'm I don't know that we're going to struggle against them. Maybe we will. Maybe it's going to look really embarrassing when we lose or if we lose, you know. But like Shimmer, their jungler, was my jungler on Dark Matter. I think he's an extremely talented player who there's like a Valorant phrase like all aim no brain that describes Shimmer, and I mean that like very respectfully. Like this guy
Mhm.
is good at the game. He just needs to have somebody teach him how to think about the game. So if he's developed that at all, he's going to be really fun to go against. And their support Al Calamity is
Yep.
somebody that I've been friends with for a while, and I coached him a little bit when he was like a Diamond Masters player, and now he's like 1300 LP. So to see him grow like that is really cool. I don't know how well he's going to play in this super competitive environment, but I have a lot of respect for those players on that roster. So it's going to be fun if we play them. Is that semifinals? I assume or
Uh,
finals.
Quarters. So that would be quarters.
Quarters.
Semifinals would be up against Galaxy.
Galaxy got it. Okay.
Galaxy Gaming. That is the Cozy, City Witty, Ariandel, Inori B, and Kim Down roster.
Oh, we're very familiar with that roster. Okay. I am very confident then that we should sweep our bracket.
Yeah, that seems to be the prevailing theory from a lot of people. How do you think you stack up against New Airport?
Well, we did scrim them on stream.
Yep.
It was a 2-2 scrim block. We had our sub 80 carry playing, who was a support main until he role swapped recently, and we took them 2-2. So our scrim bucks, our scrim stocks are very high at the moment. But like honestly, I think they're a really good team. I think this is when you God, what is it, Rocky 2 or Rocky 3? Like, you know, where he's got to get back in shape.
Yep.
Like he can get there, but like they're not there yet. Like we know these guys are monsters, so
Yeah.
if they can get back into form before the end of OQs, it's going to be really scary.
Sleeping
If they
Giants.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe. Yes, there
Yeah.
you go. Sleeping
Yeah.
Giants. Oh yeah, the league song.
Looking towards the future though, for Tempest, how do you think this team stacks up against the NACL teams in talent? And do you think that you could potentially promote to the LTAN if you do make it?
I think you would have to check my medication to see if I was on crack. If you like, if I said that we were going to promote to Latin America, but I will say I'm not going to name any rosters. I'm not going to name any teams. We've scrimmed several NACL teams, and our records are very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know
So
you.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. You didn't hear from me. So
I will say in an interview that Tempest is looking very good against the bottom half of the NACL.
Sure.
Projected
whatever those teams
bottom
might
half.
Be. But yeah, there you go. There you go. You can say that
Yeah.
hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
But yeah, no, I agree. I would agree. I would say that if we were in an NACL team, we would be middle of the pack.
Right.
And that's probably pretty good, considering I've never coached NACL before. Some of my players have never played NACL before. We're in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are definitely looking really good. A lot of people have you favorites to promote right now, and favorites to be decent within the NACL when you do, or if you do. On a more personal note, how is it coaching remotely?
Like how so?
Like
maybe give yeah.
like how is it coaching, like ping wise and time zone wise, and just is it a struggle to try and get on some of these same time zones?
Oh, it's actually really easy. So, like this iteration is easy because I'll wake up at like 8 a.m. Eastern. I'm in Eastern time.
Yeah.
Which is like if I have Pacific time, this would be miserable. So we have like a 5 block usually at like 8:30 or 9 a.m. Eastern for my EU team. And then we'll like do that for a couple hours review. I'll break for lunch, go to like the gym, do some other stuff, hang out with friends, and then in the evening and nighttime we'll do my NA scrims like 5 p.m. start time Eastern or sometimes 8 p.m. start time. So it works really nicely. It means I don't really have much free time, unfortunately, because a lot of my daytime is like stuff I need to do to pay the bills or
Right.
take care of my life or spend time with my girlfriend who's sitting behind me. So, but no, it works out great. When I was coaching, you mentioned before the interview, like the Asian Games team.
Yep.
That was a team from India, and those guys were like 11 and a half hours ahead. So I would have to wake up at like 6 in the morning, and that was not fun.
No, I
But-
definitely don't think it would be. You've had a lot of high highs recently, especially over the last year. I mean, you won your first tournament last year. How was the feeling after winning that?
Hmm. I was. Oh, you're talking about in EU, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Talking
Yeah.
about the Flame Hard roster.
Yeah, that was
Cool.
really cool because
Go ahead.
that was like a roster who was like they ran the gauntlet. Like they started from the open qualifier, then they promoted to Div 2, then they were last place in Div 2, and then we won Div 2. We promoted to Div 1, and right now we're in the finals for Division 1, and if we win our match this Saturday, we go to EMEA Masters, so that'll be really sick as well. So we'll be playing I'll be coaching an OQ team and an EMEA Masters team, like dual wielding. It'll be
You're collecting
kind of
your
fun.
Infinity Stones here.
I guess, but like honestly, like the best part for me is seeing players I'll work with over the period of a couple of months like gradually change into like better versions of themselves as like people and as teammates, like being more considerate, being more open to new ideas. It's less about the win and more about like if we play well and lose, I'll still be happy. I want to see them improve as people. So
For
that's
sure.
been the most rewarding experience for me.
And that's really awesome. Like I said, your players have under your leadership have grown a lot, and it's shown over the last couple of years with the people that you have been coaching, the teams you've been coaching. But as a coach, how would you describe your style? Is it more headstrong? Is it more passive? As a like more of Spawn, or is it more of do this, do this, do this?
Interesting. Yeah, for I feel like this might be a weakness. Some people might call it a weakness, but I feel like I'm a bit more of a chameleon, and that has its strengths and its weaknesses. Like sometimes you need somebody who just stands firm by their guns, no matter who they're working with. But I've seen that kind of blow up in the face of really great coaches that I have a lot of respect for, where they don't have like they've got one tool for the job and it's a hammer, and if you need like a screwdriver, you're kind of screwed. So no pun intended. So I have like a lot of tools in my toolkit for my EU team. I say some things that would not get me a lot of love if they went on Twitter. But for my North American team, because the players are different and the culture is different, the environment is different, I come at it like a here's my thought process. Here's why I think about this. Like, what's your perspective? Okay, like what's your perspective? Like, let's have a conversation about it. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that also comes from the fact that they are like a little bit better as players, so they have more fleshed out views of what of how to play the game. But yeah, I feel like that's my strength, and it's something I wish more coaches would aspire to have because, like I said, you can't just be a dick and yell at people all day and expect results. You know?
Right. We've seen a couple coaches over the ages do that and not work out very well. So, more
You
into you
can,
though.
but
What hobbies do you have outside of League of Legends? Is there anything that you like to do? I mean, you mentioned you don't have a lot of free time, but
yeah, that's crazy. God, what hobbies do I have? I used to have hobbies. Hobbies were something I used to have. Right now, what I do is I play Power Washer Simulator in
oh,
between. Like, it's so bad, man. It's so bad. I used to be such a cool person. I feel like I used to play guitar. I used to, I mean, I still go to the gym quite frequently, so that's nice.
right.
Um, but yeah, I just don't have a lot of like a lot of free time. Like, I make content. I for League of Legends on YouTube. I coach everybody for not everybody, both regions, and then I spend time with my girlfriend. I've got a couple IRL friends I hang out with, but besides that, I'm looking to get more into woodworking and gardening because I'm getting a
Oh,
house this spring,
good for
so that's going to
you.
be really nice. So yeah,
Very
maybe
exciting.
get outside a little bit.
What kind of plants do you want to grow?
I want an herb garden. I want to grow like some basil, some thyme, some oregano, some
Great,
stuff. Like I love cooking too.
great for
So
Italian food.
exactly.
I cook a lot as well, so we love that.
There you go.
Is there anything you want to say to the fans, either coming over from EU, watching you from Flame Hard, or for the fans of Tempest?
Oh shit, I got fans, dude. That's no, I'm just kidding. All I want to say is I'm doing this because I love it, and if I've helped you at all, or I'm just really grateful for the people who have given me like a shot to be in the position I'm at because I feel like when I'm there, I work hard, I give it my all, but somebody's got to give you that first shot. So, I mean, thanks to Supernova, thanks to Tempest, thanks to the players on Tempest, Supernova, Flamehard, everybody who vouched for me to be here in the first place. and all the people I've worked with along the way. Shout outs to my girlfriend, obviously, she's amazing. And thank you for taking the time to do this interview. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. And anything to say to the haters of Tempest?
What's that line from Vinland Saga? It's like I have no enemies.
I have
or something.
no enemies. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you so much for coming on, Bach. Is there anything you want to shout out before you leave?
No, I think I'm good. I'll see you in NACL, right?
All righty. See you in NCL. And for all my other interviews, go ahead and check down below. We'll watch them all. Everyone, have a wonderful day.